a speeding bullet.
If you only knew the power of the dark side.
More powerful than a locomotive.
Hulk! Smash!
Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound.
There's more to them than meets the eye.
Left me here with sand in my bed. She played me all night long, but I do it all over again. Whoa. My sweet summer's gone, and on my mirror she made it clear lipstick can't be wrong. My summer, my sweet summer is gone. My sweet summer is gone.
Warm was the weather outside the day we met. Blue was the color of skies the day she left. Short was the time we had, it was the best. Cause long were the nights we spent with no rest. I met her on a Friday, she left on a Monday. Wrote me a letter, said she hoped to see me someday. We had a good time, I can't deny that. You could be my sunshine every time you fly back.
There's another one you're loving, and I hate to see you go. My sweet summer's gone. She left me here with sand in my bed. She played me all night long, but I do it all over again. Oh, my sweet summer's gone, and on my mirror she made it clear lipstick can't be wrong. My summer, my sweet summer is gone. My sweet summer is gone.
Yeah, she left in the morning, gone without warning. Fun while it lasted, lost in the moment. She played me real good, took me for a ride. Now she's off on an aeroplane, back to real life. Yeah, she dipped out, smoked on my weed, then she flipped out. Left in my slumber, waited till I passed out. And on my dresser was a paper and her number. I filled it up with grass and I burned it for summer.
Cause there's another one you're loving, and I hate to see you go. My sweet summer's gone. She left me here with sand in my bed. She played me all night long, but I do it all over again. Oh, my sweet summer's gone, and on my mirror she made it clear lipstick can't be wrong. My summer, my sweet summer is gone. My sweet summer is gone. Left like a midnight thief. You ain't no friend of me. How could you lead me on? Now my sweet summer is gone. My sweet summer is gone. Now my sweet summer is gone. My sweet summer is gone.
Hey there, boils and ghouls. The one and only Chuckles the Clown here. Chuckles Crypt, Rhode Island Free Radio exclusive. That's right, I have not panhandled myself out to any other independent podcasts out there or listening, because Chuckles is Rhode Island, and I belong here in Rhode Island. The old saying of H.P. Lovecraft saying he is Rhode Island, well, Mr. Lovecraft, push aside, because Chuckles the Clown is now the official
new and improved
Rhode Island.
And you're still alive, so that really helps.
Yeah, that does help. And
it gives those bragging rights.
he comes in now, George Garner joining us right there. Man, he's got good timing. The old saying, look like the cat dragged in, and boom, there he is. Nurse Misery with us as well. And, happy summer equinox out there to all my brother-ins and sister-ins of the Wiccan religion. Not too many people will give a shout-out for a holiday like that, but why not? Definitely not one of my favorite seasons of the year.
It's yucky.
This one hasn't been that bad to start yet. Hopefully, knock on a coffin wood that it stays like it's doing right now.
Growing a human, it's
I've
bad.
already managed to burn myself, and we have not started summer yet.
Sunburn
That's
already?
how I'm looking.
Wow, that's not good. I mean, because we went out for a hike yesterday to Ramtail Road, and it was beautiful up until the morning, and after the morning, then it started to get a little toasty. And let me tell you something, Mother Nature, congratulations. Now, this is if you guys have never heard of Ramtail Road, and by the way, we are going to be talking about the paranormal the next couple weeks because there are so many really good paranormal movie-related topics coming out.
Yeah.
So this fits in. Now, if you're from Rhode Island and you don't know where Ramtail Road is, pick up the book by Thomas D'Agostino, Ramtail. Really good read. It's one of the most haunted spots in Rhode Island, maybe one of the most haunted spots in America. But when you go down there in the fall or the winter, it is like a vast desert of trees. Like there's no shrubs, nothing growing up in there. It's just the dirt. We returned yesterday for an outing, and wow.
We were
Wow.
only there at, the end of April?
Yeah, Mother Nature took it over to the point where I could not find the areas that I normally could.
Yeah,
I mean, it
you
was
couldn't
very
even see the path.
Yeah, it was very disturbing how quickly she took over that area.
Along with her gypsy moth
Oh,
friends.
my gypsy moths. Those things are horrible this year. We need to go in there and spray that. I mean, they were pooping on my head as I was walking through there. I mean,
Ew.
you're trying to take a piss on a bush, and what rubs up against your penis but a gypsy moth.
That's a
Freaking
great way
setting
to get
it-
a rash.
come on,
It's
man.
a female gypsy moth, not some kind
Right.
of sicko.
I hope so, but
Well, they are fuzzy.
yeah, they are, and they will give you a bad rash too. Like if
Yeah,
they touch
they-
up against them, and nothing will eat them because they're bitter and poisonous to most of the animals. So, I guess Japan got the one up on us. We may have dropped a bomb on them, but they dropped gypsy moths on us, and
And they just won't die.
they won't. They're tearing apart the trees. There are areas in Rhode Island, folks, and you might have this all over the country too, where trees should be of abundant leaves, but it still looks like spring.
And I heard that in some parts in Rhode Island, the gypsy moths are so bad you can actually hear them chewing on stuff at night.
Now
That's
that's
something out of a paranormal
You
incident.
know
Definitely.
what? I think I have heard that because I was inside and I thought I heard when there's a light summer shower and the rain just pitter-pats on the leaves.
yeah.
So I looked. I thought it was just a shower, but then I looked out and it wasn't raining.
No, it's a
So, I
gypsy
mean,
moth.
that gypsy moth chewing.
I thought it was my fat girlfriend having a midnight snack, but it was the gypsy moths out there chowing down.
I did not say that. I did not say that. You heard that from the one and only Tony Jones, our operator and director of all things Rhode-IslandFreeRadio.org. Yeah, and I tell you, Gina, if you're out there thinking of something to do, how about save Mother Nature and find some sort of spray or something out there that is eco-friendly and wipe these SOBs out.
Hey, we have all these homeless people and unemployed, huge unemployment problem. Why don't we send them out to stomp on all these moths?
Yeah, I used to do that as a
For
kid.
minimum wage.
It was kind of gross. You'd step on them and watch the organs go out the front of the mouth.
Yeah, I'll tell you, you don't. Yeah, these things you don't even. These aren't even fun to step on. Actually,
They're
No,
gooey.
They're gross.
they stick to you.
Yeah,
They ruin your shoes.
I remember using a badminton set to use them like little ping pongs, and I'd hit them across the yard at my sister's, and they'd go flying and splat at them. I was always an evil clown, guys. Don't look like you're surprised.
No, but you're right. There is really no good way to get rid of these things.
No, there is not. But on a side step, now these things are kind of terrestrial looking. They're kind of like aliens invading the planet. And today's
Well, they
topic,
have invaded our ecosystem.
we are going to be talking about aliens, UFOs, cool movies, cool characters that are aliens and UFOs inspired. And there are a lot of them out there. And there's more coming. And I'm hoping that
There's
maybe
a
this will...
big release coming.
There is a very big release, 20 years in the making, and I don't know how I feel about it taking this long for this movie to come out, but Independence Day 4, the second one, 20 years in the making, is coming out this Friday, minus Will Smith, and the gentleman that played Data in Star Trek returns. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I remember watching that movie and the alien choking and killing that character and dropping him to the floor.
Independence Day.
Yeah.
The original Independence Day.
So how is he back?
Maybe
I
he
don't-
just. Maybe he likes to be choked and he survived.
I don't.
He was
Now,
into
who
it.
played? Now, who played? Now, we're talking about the scientist.
Yeah, I can never remember the actor's name. That I'm not very good at that stuff, guys. So don't hate me for not knowing actors.
But he's going to be in this movie.
Yeah,
Yes.
returning as a scientist again. And
Well, is this a sequel or is this just a remake?
oh, this
is
is
a
a sequel,
sequel.
Or
a
is it a
direct
prequel?
sequel. And it's a sequel, and everything in this movie has taken a large dose of testosterone because everything
Everything's bigger
is-
and better.
Is it a Michael Bay movie?
It
no,
might as well be from the looks of it.
it is not. But and I got to give a full shout out to Mr. Michael Bay. The second Ninja Turtles was flipping awesome. As a fan of the series, this was the number 2 that we should have gotten, and we never did. That's all I'll leave it on there because we're talking about aliens. And, of course, Krang is an alien, was introduced into the Ninja Turtles on the
And,
part 2.
The ooze would be paranormal.
Not really. It was created by a chemist stuff. I mean,
It does some pretty creepy, messed up stuff.
it does. But it was a good movie, and I'm telling people out there it's worth catching on a Cheapo Tuesday.
Yeah, okay, but now speaking of good movies, I remember the Independence Day,
Yeah.
being a real good movie.
It was.
As a matter of fact, I've watched that several times.
We have a tradition in the insane asylum, which it used to be different in another insane asylum, where we would actually watch Independence Day on the 4th of July, which it came out in 1996 on the 4th of July.
Independence Day holds up, too. If you watch it today, it doesn't look like a 90s movie.
Yeah, the graphics are still outstanding. And
Yeah, which all goes to my point of why the hell do we need another one?
I don't know, because I guess a lot of people out there decided they wanted to do another one, which some movies don't deserve sequels. Maybe this is one of them. Maybe this is going to kick ass.
They did keep some
We
of
don't
the
know.
original cast, though. So
They
we'll
kept
see.
95% of the original cast. I'd have to say probably 99% of the original
Right,
cast.
but other than Tony waving the money sign, which is the exact and only reason
Dollar,
this has
dollar.
been done.
Yeah.
Where does the see? I like sequels when the story has a place to go. Where
Yeah.
does that story go?
Oh, from what it's showing and everything that I've seen from the trailer, Earth has built up for a defense for attack like this again. It's taken 20 years to do so, which, okay, that's
Use
kind of
their
cool.
technology.
Use their technology. But the aliens also, within this 20 years, have been building up their technology in the fact that they are going to return and try once again to conquer and take
maybe
over the
the-
resources of Earth.
The mothership we thought was a mothership really wasn't as much of a big deal as we thought it was.
That thing
and-
was huge. And
But
to see
these,
this
these
new,
other things are huger.
So in other
huger.
words,
What type of English word? Did you graduate from Coventry High School or something?
Yes, I did.
Huger. You mean
they are
bigger?
They are
Yes.
more prodigious.
Yes.
There you go. A big word for you. I can't even say
Yeah,
it.
try that one again, clown boy.
I did graduate from
Right,
Coventry High.
so in other words, the mothership of the first movie is not actually the mothership.
I guess
Yeah.
not.
It's like the little sister, kid sister ship or something.
The
Maybe.
intermediary ship.
Maybe it was like the Enterprise of World War II. You know, had all the.
Right,
And then
it's-
there's another bigger Enterprise
There's
in the
home-
building.
Right, there's the home ship or whatever.
Yeah.
Thing.
Oh, guys, I said something educational. World War II Enterprise. Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah,
I guess
nobody understood
There will
that.
be
No,
no,
they
one
didn't.
getting that reference.
They didn't understand
listening.
that. But I know something they will understand. A short music break right here. And to bring us into all things UFO, no band better than Megadeth will give you the best song that I've ever heard from them. Hangar 18, right here in Chuckles Crypt, Rhode Island FreeRadio.org. We'll be right back. I absolutely love Megadeth, and you can't talk about UFO stuff without that song. Thank you, Nurse Misery, for picking that out. One of my favorite metal bands, always will be up there. And I know a lot of people don't like their newer stuff because they seem to mellow out, and correctively so. But I still dig their music. Yeah, I said dig. And we're talking about UFOs and the paranormal today. Aliens, flying saucers in the air. And I tell you, it's not such an odd thing for someone nowadays to say they saw a UFO. I mean, it's more so happening now and getting caught with our technology than it was, say, even 20 years ago. Where if you kept saying, I saw a UFO, someone would lock you up.
But
You're
people
crazy.
say they see ghosts all the time, too, now.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to get to the ghost thing. I mean,
No,
they've
but-
even gotten to the point where they've pulled out religious paintings and stuff, and they question the stuff behind it because it looks like they're UFOs. And there's even questioning, even in ancient religions, that they have carvings of stuff that look like ships that are up in the air.
All right. Well, first of all, though, Chuckles, like we gotta interrupt here. Like UFO. Now, UFO technically just means unidentified flying object.
Correct.
Now, if you say it's an alien spacecraft, you've identified it.
Well,
So
true.
it's-
But it's still a UFO either way because we don't know what's in that picture. It's unidentified.
Until you can prove without a shadow of a doubt.
But the
it's
fact is,
alien.
like, who
It's
was
nothing but an unidentified
Right,
object.
all that means it's unidentified. It
Yeah, but
doesn't
who
mean
was
it's
flying
alien.
back then? It wasn't us. We didn't have the technology to fly some
Maybe
metal
dragons
saucer.
were real.
Okay, Nurse Misery, go back in your corner over there and use the book from, smack yourself in the head with a couple times. Dragons were not real, and these things are bright silver, and they're in these paintings. And I've seen countless photos and art artifacts where they're depicting ancient life forms and that aren't from this area. I honestly, I will go by and say, yeah, I think they exist. I think this is not so much a paranormal thing as it is a reality thing. It's just no one wants to come out and say yes because it's going to cause a real big stink. And I don't think we're ready for something like that personally as a people because we're still fighting each other over stupid religions. It's never mind something of a higher intelligence that probably already found out that what they're talking about doesn't
unless
exist.
the aliens are just filming all the wars here for reality television back home.
You know, I wouldn't doubt it.
Funny.
There is a speculation that the minute we set off the nuclear bomb and that bright light went off in the atmosphere, that whatever was going by just said, whoa, what just happened in that prehistoric planet? And of all of a sudden,
Pay attention to these little
it's
guys.
interest of, these stupid Neanderthals went to, they're starting to play with stuff that might not damage us, but could lead down the road to causing harm to us. So, of course, they paid in. Now, when you think of aliens and you think of Chuckles Crypt, of course, we're going to talk about movies and comics. And there are a ton of movies, but I pulled out my favorite. Screw those lists that are on the internet. They're horrible. I don't know who comes up with those. They're going to be like the same people that criticize the movies.
Well, maybe you need to start doing your own movie lists on YouTube.
Yeah, I think I do. And we'll talk about that later, too, the restructuring of the Chuckles YouTube, which is
Can't give away too
It's
much, though.
in work
because
right now.
it's a lot under wraps.
Now, I'm gonna start with one of my favorite, and it's a television show, and it's been made into movies. It's been made into comics, and that, of course, is the X-Files. I get really excited every time I hear that music click up. And yes, a good portion of it wasn't aliens and UFOs. They brought in the ghost and the cryptozoology parts of it, which was really cool. But the prime story to that was the gentleman was trying to find out how his sister was abducted and went up into this flying saucer. Really cool show. The movies were excellent. I didn't find one of those I didn't like. And the comic books are just as cool. IDW has picked them up and has a whole series. The only downside of that is when they got rid of Agent Mulder and Scully and they tried to replace them, it really damaged that show. I mean, the Smoking Man was stupid. It was horrible. And then after that, the season just kind of crashed. You took your two biggest characters and you said, oh, we don't need them, and tried introducing to us characters we really didn't give two shits about, because these other two characters were part of the season for 5 to 6 years, if not more, and then all of a sudden here, Smoking Man.
By the way, that smelly hippie that was here last week is the new host of Chuckles Crypt.
I quit. I quit right now. It's no longer Chuckles Crypt. This is Chuck D. Clown's Crypt. Come on down, Chuck. I hear you need a job. Any thoughts about the movie X-Files? We go around the table. I mean, I know we all grew up with it. Don't all speak at once here.
Wasn't sure which direction you were going there.
Well, he was staring right at you.
Yeah.
Oh, I was looking at you immediately because I'm like, all right.
All right, who cares? Dead radio is bad radio.
Exactly.
Let's go.
I remember watching the show. I honestly didn't know it had became a comic at all. So, did the comic happen during the television
it happened
show?
during it and into now. And even they released their own album that Alice Cooper and Rob Zombie wrote a special song just for the X-Files album. Really cool music album. If I can find that, I will play that album in its entirety for our next show if I can find it.
Yeah, see, I watched early X-Files. I don't remember the Smoking Man or any of the later stuff, so that part eludes me. But basically how there was always something creepy on it, and it was always exciting to see the monster, and they usually always made you wait.
And even the new ones was good TV, and they put them Netflix exclusive, which I loved, and it got you to...
that 6-part miniseries?
Oh, yeah, that was really cool. Was it Netflix or Hulu? I think it might have been Hulu.
It was on regular TV first.
Yeah, and then Hulu had its run of it. So if you guys ever want to get caught up on them, they're all up on both of those stations. They're the whole 9 yards. It'll say up on Hulu that I've missed 245 episodes, and I think out of all those episodes, I might have missed 4. George?
Okay, well, X-Files is cool. I'm not as big of a fanatic about it as a lot of people because, unfortunately, being the authority on all things horror, I realized that most of the stories on the X-Files have been done a lot of times before on different shows, on different movies. They did a really good job of taking all the old stories and making them fresh and new.
Right.
All the old ideas and making them fresh and new.
Didn't they take a lot of ideas kind of from like Twilight Zone and stuff?
Yeah, a lot. Twilight Zone, Outer Limits.
A
lot of the old science fiction stories. Well, the whole idea of the aliens and the Men in Black, and
because then you're like, oh wait, I think I've seen this before. Then you're like, oh no, that was a different show.
That's the thing, and it's been done. Now, they did it well.
Oh yeah.
But like I say, it just couldn't keep my interest because when you've watched enough of the kind of like they asked Alfred Hitchcock once if he ever got scared when he went to the movies, and his answer was no because I know how they do it.
Yeah.
And that's probably my reaction to the X-Files is. It could only interest me up to a certain point because I've seen it all before, but they did it well.
Tony, you got any? I know you grew up liking that as well, like I did.
One of my favorites, second season, 12th episode, the Freak Show episode, where they took the time to use real freaks. Instead of just having actors, they got the folks from Jim Rose Freak Show, much like Freak Show the movie back in the day, the black and white, they used real freaks, which is... in a politically correct age now, you probably will not see. That's probably the last time that's been done.
I'm surprised you remembered the exact episode because I didn't.
Nerds.
I was going to bring that up because I loved when the Puzzle Man was sitting there eating the light bulb, and you had the gentleman hanging his back skin from the hook swinging around.
And that was Jim Rose's actual traveling freak show that you could then see over that summer.
I believe a good friend of ours, Seth Carney, is really good friends with the Puzzle Man there that has all the puzzle tattoos and eats of the light bulbs. I believe him saying he's performed with him out in Las Vegas. I might be wrong. I'm sorry, Seth, but let us know if you're listening. We're going to go down to some music, and sometimes the loving that the aliens give you when they abduct you, you don't want. So
let's discuss that in the next segment.
Yeah, we will discuss that. We're going to go down to ZZ Top's Give Me All Your Loving here on Chuckles Crypt, Rhode Island Free Radio.
Poor choice on my part.
ZZ Top here on Chuckles Crypt, Rhode Island Free Radio. Don't hear those boys on the radio much anymore, and they are from the great state of Texas, where there is a lot of stories about alien abduction.
I think they just get bored out there in the desert.
Yeah. Texas isn't all desert. It is all hot, but it's not all desert.
And there's a lot of ranch fields and stuff like that.
Desert, Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, all that desert, that lonely desert territory where there is not much to do except stick large objects up your rectum.
Well, everybody's got their favorite bed knob.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, and it always happens to be the toothless one or the one that has never graduated from school that the aliens abducted, because the aliens don't want to abduct smart people. They only want to abduct
Morons.
stupid people. Yeah, that's not what they're going to want to study. They're not definitely.
They are kind of entertaining.
If I was to be an alien abductor, I would want to abduct like a smart person so I can probe them for knowledge.
But how do they know what's
I don't think they're not
yet?
probing them for knowledge, Chuckles. They're probing them in the other end.
Just for fun. Just to do it. Just kind of like when we pulled
that's what it is. It's kind of like an alien frat party.
Yeah.
It's like a lab rat.
Like
You
when we
wanna
were
see how much you
kids
can torture
and
them.
we pulled the legs off of ants and everything. It was fun. So that's maybe what the aliens are doing.
Yeah, they started off sticking these gigantic probes up, Earthlings' anal regions to torture them, but then they found out some of them were enjoying it.
Yeah, and then they stopped.
So
We're not
then
doing
they
this no more.
Yeah, it's because we were like Tony said off air. The probing really has stopped. Right, we don't hear about that at all anymore.
No, we do not. Now, one sort of alien abduction that is one of my favorite all-time movies, even as a kid, Disney put out, and you guys are gonna be sitting there going, "What?" Flight of the Navigator.
That was a good movie.
That was an excellent abduction movie, as you call it, although it didn't really abduct him. The creatures inside the pen were really cool. I wanted to know more stories of where the UFO had gotten that. The storyline behind it was really cool. I like when the alien ship makes fun of the fat kid down there. That was there. A fun movie, not your typical gory death. All the aliens going to come down and kill you type of deal. It looked like a giant Nerf football, and that's what I could always relate it to. And that would be pretty cool to be piloting a UFO around like that. If you guys want a fun family movie to watch, Flight of the Navigator, really cool.
There's another Disney movie from before then, too. I don't know if anybody remembers it, called Escape to Witch Mountain.
I was thinking of
that was a good one, too.
I love that movie.
Disney has put out a lot of really good UFO movies that are campy. I mean, they're not gory or whatnot, but they're very campy. The Cat from Outer Space, that was a pretty weird one, but still fun. But I think I remember hearing ZZ Top playing in the background of that ship when it was flying.
I do not remember The Cat from Outer Space.
No, you don't?
No.
Well, you have the movie. I bought it for you a couple years back. It's probably still in the cellophane.
Because you buy me movies, then we don't watch them together.
Because I don't want to watch it again.
Me. I don't remember it.
Now, what are you guys' feelings on Flight of the Navigator? I know Tony and I have always talked about this, and the one movie that always comes up after that is Batteries Not Included.
Yeah.
Like, it's like those two are, they're one in the type. They should have put those in a box set together.
Instead, they usually put Batteries Not Included with Johnny Five.
Yeah, which, no.
Oh, Short Circuit.
So you obviously like the movie Nurse Misery.
Yeah, I enjoyed Flight of the Navigator. It was cute and it was fun, and it was basically that was.
They never made a sequel out of it. Thank you, and don't.
It didn't need a sequel,
and please,
it doesn't need a reboot.
Yeah, don't reboot this and ruin my childhood, Michael Bay. I know you're looking at this and thinking,
Please
"Oh my
don't
God!"
Make the fluffy things explode things.
Yeah, no, let's not. George.
It was cute and it was fun, which probably tells you that I never saw it.
Oh, come on. You never saw Flight of the Navigator?
I honestly have to confess, with not a twinge of guilt, no, I didn't.
Oh, man, that is an 80s movie classic. I am going to have to talk to your significant other about having a date night and maybe switching out one of your gory movies with this. I just call it prevenge for whatever you're going to do to me in the future.
Well, as far as 80s movies, I mean, I've watched my share of them. I watched not Disney, but I mean, I watched Real Genius. I watched I don't know. There might be dead air while I think about it. Not too many. But I remember Real Genius for some reason about the popcorn.
Yeah, Real Genius. There's not many of those around here where we're sitting, except for at this table in this room. Let's go down to some music right here, because this is a rather long song, and we'll come back and we'll talk about a movie that I know George will be very excited about, one of his favorites. Let's go down to Slash, Anastasia, and congratulations to Guns N' Roses for finally taking their penises out of their anal cavities and giving us fans what we want. They're back together.
Anal probings?
What a great song by Slash and Giles there. Too bad it was a good thing coming, but I'd rather listen to Guns N' Roses come out with some new stuff. Now, if you guys are looking to pick up some comic books that are alien related, some of the best that I'm going to give you right now that you could probably pick up the full sets, and I'll tell you where in a little bit. But one of my favorites, X-Files, of course. Mars Attacks, which is a really screwy book, and I just gave George a Mars Attacks versus Kiss.
I'm restraining myself from reading it out of politeness.
It is a screwy book, but it's fun. There's even a Mars Attacks versus Popeye, which I did like that one. Of course, Transformers. Everybody forgets that they are from outer space. They are aliens.
They're not just robots that we made.
Yeah, they are not from this planet. Man Martian, one of your favorite DC characters. Excellent stories behind that. Superman, not native to this area. You can get some really good stories through the Green Lantern universe because there's a lot of UFO and space creatures and everything through that. And they go interdimensional with some of these characters and really cool. And yes, I got to give it out, of course, to Star Wars, which breaches from Dark Horse to now it's Marvel's property.
And if you bring up Star Wars, you have to bring up Star Trek.
Yes, I have to do this because there are a lot of Trekkies in this audience and listening. Star Trek is also one of those books where it's doing very well, including some weird crossovers between Star Trek, The Next Generation, and Doctor Who, and Star Trek with the Green Lantern. Some really weird situations. I'm going to have Nurse Misery do her homework and read some of these because I will not. But if you want to pick up some of these books and maybe have some full sets this weekend in Massachusetts, one of my favorite comic book stores, the Rubber Chicken, 15 North Main Street, and it's off Route 126 in Bellingham, Massachusetts, will have $5 complete comic book series up there. Along with whatever else they have inside there. You're sure to get your Independence and your DC and your Marvel Alien fix, because without the aliens, a lot of these comic series would be boring. Yeah. You got to throw in that creature from outer space that's been lurking over us, that's coming to mess us up. And it's going to take either an alien from another area or some high-tech gadgets to get rid of them.
Has Batman ever faced any aliens?
Of course he has. Doomsday. Countless times, and he's faced other great Lantern villains like Sinestro, and countless times he has faced villains, and they got some weird crossovers with him too, as well. I'm trying to think of some of the other ones off the top of my head.
And of course, to blow everybody's mind, don't forget that Superman is an alien.
Yeah, he is. He's 100% an alien, not from this area. As American as Superman sounds, he
kind of looks pretty good, though, for an alien.
Yeah, he ages pretty well, too.
He looks very Boy Next Door.
Yeah, Boy Next Door that would ruin your hips. I don't think anybody could take that. Now, let's go down to another movie before we get into the music. I want to try to squeeze all the music in today. It's going to be hard, but I'm going to try to, at least this last song. And I could not mention alien movies without bringing this one into play. And it is, I will go on record as saying, the most popular alien movie that has ever been made.
You mean
and
Alien?
No, not even. I'm talking about invading Earth. And George, you know what that is. Come on, don't lead us astray.
War of the Worlds.
War of the Worlds. The most popular book/radio recording, what caused mass hysteria to the movie. When you mention alien invasion, War of the Worlds is the first thing that comes to you when you're thinking of movies. And that movie still stands out to this day, the original, as being the best.
We have to say the original.
Now, the 2005 one.
That might stand out as one of the worst films. Literally, I'll tell you, if I was to come up with not only science fiction, but if I was to come up with 10 worst movies ever made, that would probably be in the top 10. That was excruciating.
Well, I got to be the devil's advocate. I got to kind of say I enjoyed it after the third time of watching it.
You hated it in theaters.
Yeah, the first time I saw it in the theaters, I hated it. But I had to go back and watch it again.
Because I made you.
And see the reality of the movie that everybody missed.
The reality of the movie that nobody missed was that a jet airplane crashes into our house. containing Tom Cruise. A jet airplane crashes into the house. Later on, a news van drives up into the driveway of the house where this jet just crashed into, and it pretty much rolls around that driveway uninterrupted. So I don't know. I mean,
George, I'm going to go by and say it. I enjoyed it. I mean, everybody's going to have their own thing, and I'm sure I'm going to get hate mail. Someone saying I'm stupid and resigned from Chuckles Crypt and replace me with the dirty hippie.
I'll give it one. It had one really awesome sequence.
Anytime the ships were vaporizing people.
Well, no, when the ship rose out of the lake.
Yeah.
And destroyed the.
That was amazing.
Boat. That was impressive.
I enjoyed any time they were getting blasted while they were screaming. That was pretty cool watching them turn to dust piles
out of the ground in the city.
And you could see the people's reaction, and that would be my reaction too, where they're tripping people so the aliens get them and not me. That's a totally realistic thing. If that ship and that creature's following me, you don't have to be the fastest, just the second fastest
or
to
you're
trip
be able
someone.
to trip people.
Yeah, just trip them and throw them into them. Now, I probably wouldn't have put myself in with those screaming memes that were around me. That every time something came, they had to scream.
Wow.
That probably would have been the person I tripped.
That screaming kid.
Yeah,
that's just that screaming kid alone.
Give him the UFO. Here you go.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about the obnoxiousness of the screaming of the little Japanese kids in Gamera.
Yeah,
I mean that screaming kid in Tom Cruise's War of the Worlds, most obnoxious. Although I don't know, Jurassic Park had a couple of screamers too. But
we're talking about the little girl Dakota Fanning, right?
Yeah.
If they didn't have her in it, it'd be a totally different movie.
I'll tell you, by about 3 minutes listening to her, I was hoping she'd die in real life. I mean, to this day, I hope she's dead.
Nope, she's not. Yeah. But we're getting close to the end of the show, unfortunately.
Now, just real quickly, the War of the Worlds radio drama, which I'm a huge fan of, gave rise to one of my least favorite things, and probably one of the least favorite things of everybody in this room, and probably the reason why we're in this room and not at an over-the-air radio station. It gave rise to the FCC. After the War of the Worlds scare, people called for broadcasting to be regulated.
Censorship.
Talk about horror.
It definitely was. Now, H.G. Wells' book, incredible, guys. If you get the chance to read that, I hands down will say that is an awesome read. Whenever you can take the original book and read it instead of watching the movie and whatnot, you'll get more of
it used
appreciation.
To be on, the curriculum for high schools, but I don't know if it still is or not.
It's not politically correct.
Now,
you can't be talking about aliens without walls.
Where do you fall on the side of history where Orson Welles and crew swears up and down they did not expect a panic? Because there's another side to that where they're saying that it was they knew it was a prank and they knew it was going to cause this big panic. But CBS Radio and Orson Welles, oh no, we never knew that was going to happen.
Well,
I could see myself doing that same thing, saying, oh no, we didn't know that was going to happen.
Oh, absolutely. But I really don't think they expected what they got.
No, I think they expected a little freak out, but
not a full-blown riot.
No, because wasn't it true that they announced that it was a radio play every so often during that broadcast?
At the beginning.
At the beginning, yeah. But then they made it sound like they made it sound like a radio, a legit news broadcast.
We got to be able to get that recording. Would we be able to air that on Rhode Island Free Radio?
1938.
So we have to be able to get that. Maybe for Halloween, Chuckles Crypt will take a break, and
or we can print out the script and
we can
redo
reenact it.
That would be incredibly fun, especially adding a little clown talent to that. Yeah. But we're getting ready to wrap things up, and before we do that, some honorable mentions for movies. Battle for L.A., one of my all-time favorites. 9 was really cool. And of course, you got to give it out to E.T., one of the classics.
We do not.
Yes, I do. I enjoyed it, George. We're not all miserable and toxic.
We were little when it came out. We appreciate it differently.
I'm not that miserable and. Close Encounters was nice.
We caught them.
For me, Fire in the Sky as a kid had some really freaky scenes.
That was a good one. There are plenty of alien movies out there for people to hate and love. The fact is the alien phenomena true, or is it created through the media? It's your job to figure this out.
It's your job to not get probed.
Yeah, don't get probed.
Keep your butthole closed.
So let's go down to what is coming up for Chuckles Crypt, and then we're going to finish things up with Alice Cooper's Brutal Planet. But
right,
Nurse Misery, quick spin down.
Out. So our next event is actually going to be this weekend. It is the Wickford Sea Creature Parade. Part of Chuckles and Laughs cast and crew will be there in some unique costuming. The parade starts at 10 a.m. and the official kickoff of the New England Quahog Festival. There will be a king and queen announced that will lead off the parade. There will be bands at the end of it. There'll be a bear tent.
Food.
Yep, food, vendors, everything, all sorts of fun. Go hang out in Wickford for the day. Then that brings us to the Ancient and Horrible Parade, which is Monday, July 4th. It's usually at 4 p.m. Honestly, we're still waiting on some details. Oh, wait. The website's been updated. It does start at 4 p.m. Yay, life, for it staying the same. That's going to be up through Gloucester, Rhode Island at 4 o'clock on 4th of July. Then we come to our last event for July, Ocean State Paracon. It is brought to us by Rise Up Paranormal. This year they will be benefiting the Rhode Island Coalition Against Domestic Violence, July 16th and 17th at the Assembly Theater in Harrisville, Rhode Island. They always have a great cast of folks that will be speaking there, plenty of vendors, lots of fun. And come see the Chuckles and Laugh Show cast and crew, as always.
That's going to head things out. Stay tuned, because coming up next is a Haunted Cabaret, and I'm sure I've gotten some brain juices going through George. Let's wrap things out with Alice Cooper's. And yes, this is the only reason these aliens will never land on our planet. It is a brutal planet.
That's why we're out of fair.
sound of footsteps in the dark, to voices that may not be quite human, to the sound of screams in the night. The Haunted Cabaret, the home of all things horror, on Rhode with your host, George Garner. The Haunted Cabaret starts now.
Roland was a warrior from the land of the midnight sun, with a Thompson gun for hire, fighting to be done. The deal was made in Denmark on a dark and stormy day, so he set out for Biafra to join the bloody fray. Through 66 and 7, they fought the Congo War, with their fingers on their triggers, knee deep in gore. Days and nights they battled the Bantu to their knees. They killed to earn their living and to help out the Congolese. Roland the Thompson gunner, Roland the Thompson gunner. His comrades fought beside him, Van Owen and the rest. But of all the Thompson gunners, Roland was the best. So the CIA decided they wanted Roland dead. That son of a bitch Van Owen blew off Roland's head. Roland the headless Thompson gunner, Norway's bravest sons of the score. They can still see his headless body stalking through the night in the muzzle flash of Roland's Thompson gun. In the muzzle flash of Roland's Thompson gun. Roland searched the continent for the man who done him in. He found him in Mombasa, in a ballroom drinking gin. Roland aimed his Thompson gun, he didn't say a word, but he blew Van Owen's body from there to Johannesburg. Roland the headless Thompson gunner, Roland the headless Thompson gunner, Roland the headless Thompson gunner. Talking about the man, Roland the headless Thompson gunner. The eternal Thompson gunner, still wandering through the night. Now it's 10 years later, but it still keeps up the fight. In Ireland, in Lebanon, in Palestine, in Berkeley, Patty Hearst heard the burst of Roland's Thompson gun and body.
All right, that was Warren Zevon, Roland the Headless Thompson Gunner. Leading off this episode of the Haunted Cabaret, I'm your host, George Garner. Along with me, Chuckles the Evil Clown.
Good evening.
Nurse Misery, our researcher extraordinaire.
When I pay attention.
I was just going to say that. As you're introduced, your nose is in the texting.
It's not in the texting. It's what you guys were just talking about, and you piqued my curiosity.
Okay, but it wasn't a subject we're going to talk about more on the show. So.
Nope. Multitasking.
It is now.
Apparently. Well, you know what? We're not going to tell you what that subject was. We're going to kill it right there.
It's dead.
It is dead as of now. But, yeah, I'll tell you, so I was kind of undecided about what to lead off the show with. But back at the end of Chuckles Crypt, Tony Jones, our producer, brought up the War of the Worlds as one of the greatest hoaxes on radio of all time, probably the greatest hoax on radio of all time. It sent people screaming into the streets. A few people, I think, literally committed suicide, didn't they?
And it sent me screaming because it brought about the FCC.
And it brought about the FCC. So that's Orson Welles' true legacy. Orson Welles, of course, was the brains behind that War of the World radio broadcast back in the great year of
1938.
1938. Yeah, so it's not Citizen Kane. Orson Welles is, we are most indebted to him for it is the presence of the FCC regulating this very radio broadcast. But now the thought occurred to me that maybe the War of the Worlds isn't the world's greatest hoax media-wise anymore. I'm thinking that maybe this 2016 presidential campaign is a hoax. I mean, it has all the earmarks of it.
It does.
Right?
You have all the cast of characters.
Yeah, it's an obsession,
Yep.
right? That's being presented as completely real, with attention down to the last detail.
It looks
Right.
like there's no hope because we're
No.
kind of like middle of the story.
Really, when you get down to it, what was the likelihood of Mars invading the Earth back in 1938? Right? It's an implausible scenario that through the sincerity of the broadcast, stupid people really believed. And maybe this is another thing. Maybe that was a way of gauging, what would you say, the mentality of the American public back in 1938.
I think they're just still too frightened about the Germans coming over and bombing them that the littlest thing set them off the record.
Right, but so you're thinking that they were so shell-shocked from World War II.
I mean, that's the beginning of World War II.
So everybody
was
World War II, right?
Yeah,
And
everybody
so they're
has their
still
head
traumatized from World War I with the
And
impending of World War II.
And there was probably all this scare propaganda of what the Germans were going to do.
Of course.
And remember, and it is almost propaganda at the end of World War I was, if something like this ever happens, it's going to be the end of the world. I mean, that was the general
Here
consensus.
comes the end of the world in people's eyes because they probably didn't catch the beginning of the broadcast to hear the disclaimer.
Right. Right, and Tony, pointed out loud, we were talking about it off air, if Orson Welles, the producer of the program, really expected the reaction that he got. And my thought on the subject is that, being in broadcast myself, I think he hoped for it. He dreamed about it. He daydreamed about getting a response like that, but he really didn't think it was going to happen. When it really did happen, I think he probably just walked around for days with a big smile on his face.
While he was swearing up and down that he never expected that to happen.
Exactly.
If you think about media fragmentation, we've actually come full circle because the reason that it was effective, whether it was on purpose or not on purpose, was because you had one media outlet and everybody was tuned into it. It was the golden days of radio, so you could get that message out to everybody. Right. Now, coming full circle, you could do that today. You could have a broadcast that folks pick up on their social media and minutes later has made the trip around the world.
Yep.
Right. Go from social media to broadcast media to right. Hence the 2016 presidential election. I give you the world's greatest media hoax. This is not really happening. The real candidates will be announced. I don't know. When do you think they're going to call off the hoax? Maybe
soon.
Maybe November 1st, the latest.
We're going to print up some ballots pretty soon. So
yeah, no, I think this hoax will probably end with maybe one of the candidates going ballistic and being carted off to a mental institution, and maybe one of the candidates being shot through the head by an assassin.
I think it's going to end with Cthulhu eating both of them and then saying, "Ha, got you. You're all in trouble."
If you want to bring Cthulhu into it.
Why not? We love Cthulhu. It's all things horror. He's
got to do a good spin on the story.
Yeah.
Okay. Of course, maybe there are those who will say that Lovecraft Cthulhu mythos thing is every bit as real as the presidential election and the War of the Worlds of 1938, and actually even more real. There are those who worship these days Cthulhu. Is that? You mentioned that creature out of the clear blue sky.
Can't hurt, can't hurt to worship him. I'm going to be on the side of good just in case.
Wasn't one of Cthulhu's minions recently at the Gardner Hills studio? So we kind of...
Yeah, he marched with us at Gatsby Day. And,
okay, so our own Chuckles the Clown is the world's first Wiccan Cthulhu cultist.
I don't even know how you say that. I'll just say I'm buttering my bread on both sides to make sure it's extra tasty.
You know, it's funny you mention that. We're talking on Chuckles Crypt about the Quahog Festival, which will be happening this weekend. And so one of the parts of it is that folks have decorated their store windows with sea creature themes. So, of course, all I can think of is Cthulhu and calamari with all...
Absolutely.
And you know that deep down inside, if H.P. Lovecraft was to walk down that sidewalk, he'd be puking and peeing on all those things.
H.P. Lovecraft was the village hasn't changed much, but in H.P. Lovecraft's day, he was a big fan of Wickford. So it's
Go back to the music for a second. Let's go. Let's do some Rolling Stones. That's always good. The band that was Satanic before Satanic was cool. Sweet Black Angel here on the Haunted Cabaret on Rhode Island Free Radio.
Got a sweet like an angel, got a clean up girl. Got a sweet like an angel up on my wall. Well, she ain't no singer, she ain't no star, but she sure does the good, and she moves so fast. But the gal in danger, yeah, the gal in chains, but you keep on moving. She's a sweet black angel, oh, not a sweet black slave. Would you do the same? She can't.
All right, that was the Rolling Stones, Sweet Black Angel, off probably their best album, The Exile on Main Street. And speaking of best and worst, off air during the music, Tony, you had this Bee in Your Bonnet about the best and the worst ways to die that you have unearthed this week. And apparently the worst category goes to...
Well, this poor guy has, for some reason... Now, when you tour Yellowstone National Park, they tell you... I almost said Jellystone because I was thinking of Yogi Bear. But when you tour Yellowstone National Park, they're pretty adamant about the fact that you need to stay on this catwalk. Right. It's almost like a wooden boardwalk type area, and that keeps you away from Old Faithful and away from the geysers. This guy went off the beaten path towards the geyser. They say he was trying to chase a stray dog, and he actually ended up falling into one of the Old Faithfuls.
Chasing a stray dog.
Yeah, I'm going to take it a step further, and
Yeah,
I think that stray
so
dog.
I think one of us should. Yeah.
I think that stray dog might have been the thing.
It was something. Maybe it was one. You know what? Maybe it was one of those Indian Manitous.
Oh, it could have been
One of those Native American Manitous that lead idiots astray in the wilderness.
A wigwam.
Right.
Yeah, taking him out there. And I don't think it was just a dog. No one could be that stupid.
No, I mean, chasing a stray dog for what reason?
I mean, you know that geyser's there. It's not like it's just moved. It's not like it was camouflaged behind bushes. You know it's there.
Yeah,
usually park rangers around. If there's a dog, report it.
Yeah,
well, let it run into the geyser. I'm not running in after it. I love dogs too, but
why are you chasing? Yeah, I mean, the dog is smart enough not to jump into a geyser.
Obviously, this guy wasn't.
The guy wasn't.
Coventry High at its best.
Possibly. And the best way to go, and I can identify with this one, being a part-time security guard to pay the bills.
One of our brothers in the security industry, he was working at a hospital in New York City, and he decided to spend a bit of his break. Well, back in our day, it was called self-abuse. Now it's called self-love. So he took off his pants, found a nice hiding spot, and when they found him, he had a heart attack. He was dead, no pants on, and on his cell phone, the pornography was still streaming.
He died whacking.
He died spanking the old monk on duty. Now, and I've never done this personally, but I'm always chatting with different security guards, and I hate to report here on the Haunted Cabaret that this is a pretty frequent thing that folks out there do. They get paid to
whack
it because they know where the security cameras are. They know where they're off camera. They know where they can hide. And I guess as long as the place has free Wi-Fi, you take a little bit of time from your security detail and you give it the old spank around.
Yeah, or you can do it the old-fashioned way. I mean, I was at this one post. It was in a trailer.
Uh-oh.
It was in a trailer, and it was at a toxic waste dump. And apparently one of my brother security guards had loaded the trailer up with the old-fashioned but still effective porno magazine.
Oh, jeez.
Oh.
Yep.
Stuck together like...
No, well, a few of them were. Yeah, I avoided those. But, no, there was one of those magazines with a real honey. So, I'm either proud or not proud to say that I did whack off into the toxic waste.
You almost got me at radio dead air for that one. I really don't know where to go with that.
Well, I don't either. I don't know what kind of chemical combination I created, whacking off into the toxic waste.
You could have created some sort of
mutant baby.
Slithering mutant.
You see some freaking turtle walking down the street. It's got George's face on it.
The Toxic Crusader has now really been made.
I've thought of in the years since that, what I've done.
Yeah.
And it was probably environmentally irresponsible.
You should have,
because
mister.
Now your DNA is in with that toxic.
My DNA is floating around in toxic yellow and brown sludge.
Now,
somewhere underground.
They put it nicely, and they say that this man was partially disrobed. If you are going to pleasure yourself at work on the job, why would you strip down?
Yeah, no, you do it very surreptitiously. You do it so that...
Haven't these people ever heard of pocket pool?
Yeah.
Apparently not.
You miss on the 8-ball, you scratch, it hurts like hell, I guess. Now, my only question to this is, did he have a heart attack because it was really good porn and it was just that good? Or did he have a heart attack because someone mislabeled the porn and some googly-eyed monster came through the door that he wasn't expecting to see and he lost it?
Kind of like, okay, I see the opening scene of a Chuckles-produced B horror movie here.
Yeah. Yeah, it comes out, and you're hoping for Debbie Does Dallas. Instead, you get Dallas, Debbie's the size of.
Oh, you get both. I mean, back in the day, back in the 1950s, the B movies always started with an old man out in the woods cooking his dinner.
Now it's an old man hiding in a corner whacking off.
Right, now the old man is in a corner whacking off, looking at porn, and there comes the B movie monster, sneaking up on him and giving him the works, while he's got his weapon in his hand.
Probably saw your love child you created in a toxic dump up on air. And scared him to death.
Help me.
He came up through the New York sewer system.
First of all, it wasn't in New York. It was actually, you know what? It was in the great town of Coventry.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, but it could have leaked through because you said it went down some sort of drainage.
I'm assuming it's possible.
In the great town of Coventry. Okay, where in Coventry?
Probably the mayor of Coventry
our
now.
studio's there, and we need new cast members. So I want to see if it's available.
We need to go find your toxic love child.
Well, if it hasn't oozed up out of the ground by now, I'd say that. Let's see. This was quite a few years back, and at the time it was what's the government fund? The Superfund. This was a Superfund site. So actually, for the peace and sanity of the world, I can report that probably that hideous chemical mixture that I created was siphoned up, probably in the next day or so by the hazmat people and.
Hazmat has it. So it's in Area 51.
It's in a container right next to the Night of the Return of the Living Dead ghoul sitting there filing up.
Yeah, in the container or in Area 51 or 61 or 71, but they probably created Area 81 for mine.
Or one of those dumpster seagulls got a hold of it, thought it was a soft shell clam.
Tony,
and dropped it onto someone's salty fries over at Wendy's as they indulged in that.
Like I say, for everyone's peace and sanity, my theory is that it was sucked up, siphoned away, and it is dead.
Sure, it was sucked up and siphoned away.
Of course, that's that one. I mean, I did do quite a few shifts up there. So there's always room for a sequel on this one.
Oh, I'm sure of it.
Sure, there's a whole
and actually, here's the folks that will find it too. The Hell Patrol.
Oh my!
Judas Priest here on the Haunted Cabaret on Rhode Island Free Radio.
Why
All right, that's the Hell Patrol, Judas Priest, off their Painkiller album. It's released 1990, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, one of the great metal albums of that era. And we were speaking about shape.
Love children and the chemical plant.
I just caught my, how exactly to describe what we were speaking about?
Good and bad ways to die, and then it went into George's mutated bastard sons that are part of the...
potential, theoretical, 1,000,000 to 1.
I'm saying it's more like 1 to a
hope
million.
that kid doesn't want back child support.
Oh, man. Christmas presents.
There's no mother to collect.
Well, maybe the mother was a Robin. Just sat on there, and it's half Robin, half George walking around.
So it's like this awkward Birdman toxic creature.
They have one of those down in West Warwick. It's called Turkey. You ever seen her?
I don't think I've had the misprivilege.
Oh, I know half of West Warwick's man has. They've crawled in the window and...
They take shifts.
Yeah, let's not go there.
But if she's as horrific as Sid, why is
now,
she
just
still
let me
so
just
popular?
let me just fill into our international and national listeners here. We're talking about, let's say,
a human turkey,
a human female woman of FCC, right?
Low moral ethics.
If you want to go back,
she makes
to
herself available.
A woman with her legs permanently open.
There you go.
In the great town of West Warwick.
I think politically you can say scamp or all that.
Scamp.
Whore. I think that's politically correct. I mean,
yeah, but isn't that a little old-fashioned morally, though, to call a woman a whore?
No, it's still politically correct.
I mean, isn't she just sexually enthusiastic?
I think that's more politically correct to be sexually enthusiastic.
Right.
We're not politically correct on the Haunted Cabaret, though. I thought that
absolutely not. I'm using great sarcasm.
Yeah, thank you. I thought I was on the wrong radio station here.
No, what this woman is a filthy, ugly whore.
Oh.
And she is, would you say half the population?
Yeah, more.
Within a 100-mile radius?
Yeah, probably the whole population.
Okay. And where's this going?
It was just going. We're just describing your love child and how it would look. Kind of like the turkey. Very similar.
Well, maybe more legs, maybe.
Yeah.
Has she reproduced?
Oh,
Keep
yeah.
in mind, because this was at a toxic waste dump that, I mean, yes, they were investigating the toxic waste, but they don't know what was dumped up there.
No.
They really don't. I mean, there's things in the ground in the state of Rhode Island that, who knows?
Even here.
There's people in the ground of the state of Rhode Island that nobody finds.
If you want to go up to the central landfill of Rhode Island, yeah, I mean, just if 1/10 of the stories are true about that you hear about what's dumped up there.
Oh my goodness.
And again, the security guards make it minimum wage, so he's napping out as there's this steady flow of traffic of people just dumping stuff.
Yeah. Well, actually, back in the 70s and 80s, it wasn't a question of the security guard napping out. It was a case of the security guard just putting a few 50s in his pocket.
So it was a week's pay.
Just kind of waving them through.
Yeah. Right this way, sir. I have a hole dug fresh for you.
Give me another 20, I'll help you unload it.
Yeah, and I've personally been told that, by people that live along the route that the trucks used to bring stuff to dump up in the Rhode Island Central Landfill, that especially by a couple of old fellas, that how when old people get up there in age, they don't sleep that well and they have insomnia and they basically
got to pee all night.
Yeah, and they're always up basically.
Yeah.
And they hear a big truck rumbling through the night at 3:00 in the morning. They look out the window. Apparently, a lot of the trucks that used to go up to the central landfill in the 1970s and early 80s were unmarked, as in no markings at all.
Just big black truck
Just
in the middle of the
trucks,
night.
and more ominously, tanker trucks.
Ooh.
With no symbols, no markings, no corporate
Those could
logos.
have God knows what in it.
Yeah. And apparently there's a lot of talk of nuclear waste from New Jersey.
Sweet deal.
That explains a lot.
Good thing you didn't spew on the nuclear waste.
So
that would really create something.
Now, of course, some of that nuclear waste could travel through the water table and have been present in the Coventry landfill. The Coventry toxic waste dump.
There's always a possibility.
It's always a possibility. Which brings to mind there were plenty of movies about, you can't really call them aliens because they were not always from outer space, but just blobs.
Mutants.
It'd still be like
Just oozy
in the
blob
paranormal field
thing.
then, since they're mystery creatures. Would they count
What
as
are you talking about?
cryptozoology?
No, and the
If they're
blob
weird
was from
creatures?
outer space.
The blob was from outer space. The one that came to mind, though, bringing to mind, the idea of my ejaculation into the waste was the stuff.
I knew you were going to go there with that.
Anybody remember the stuff?
I do.
Yeah. For anyone who hasn't seen this movie, you do want to watch it.
That doesn't make me want to eat the stuff you're talking about.
No, you don't.
No.
No, believe me, you watch this movie and you won't want to eat anything white and oozy.
No, there goes cottage cheese. Done with that.
Alfredo sauce.
Yeah, there goes my oral love life. But no, it was the stuff. It was what was it? Chuckles, what you say, the early 80s?
Yeah, that was a good cult classic.
Yeah. And it was about this unexplained white goo
that they made into food.
There's basically no explanation for it, which I thought was cool. Yeah, there's no stupid explanation. It just kind of oozes up out of the ground one day, and somebody accidentally tastes it and finds out that it tastes good. So they make it into a snack food, kind of like yogurt, and they package it under the brand name The Stuff. Only you eat it, and then it kind of
eats you.
So it's fast food.
Right, as the promotional line in the movie goes, are you eating it or is it eating you? And then it takes you over and it turns you into a basically invasion of the body snatchers type of thing. You're taken over by
the blob that it is.
Glutinous, white, oozing, gelatinous thing. Yeah. Yeah, there's that one. Then there's the blob. There's two versions of the blob. There's the old 1950s blob.
Mm-hmm. And the colored one, which is violent, which I think was in 1980s that came out.
88.
Yeah,
sounds right. That was pretty decent. That had its moments. In that one, though, the blob wasn't an extraterrestrial. In the second version, the blob was a biological warfare experiment that was put up in a satellite and came back down.
And messed people up.
And messed people up really good.
Going through air vents, seeing the body parts dissolve inside the pink ooze as it's swirling down the hallways.
Yeah, my favorite scene from that is when it landed on the National Guard soldier that saw the tentacle coming to swat him like a bug, and he pulled the two grenades, and the tentacle engulfs him, and then you see the two flashes of light in the tentacle. That was some good stuff.
It was a good movie.
Yeah, but then the original Blob had the virtue of, I don't know if it was his first role in movies, but Steve McQueen. Like the famous actor Steve McQueen.
I do know him.
Yeah, it's amazing how many of these famous actors, like Clint Eastwood, Steve McQueen, all these action guys, they got their start in B-movie horror. Like Steve McQueen was in The Blob. Clint Eastwood was in a movie called Tarantula.
Good movie.
Which just goes to show that Dirty Harry doesn't stop at killing, bank robbers and terrorists. Dirty Harry also kills giant spiders.
Someone's got to do it.
Somebody's got to do it, and he did it really good with that napalm. I remember that one. Let's get back to the music for a second. Because I got a few songs in here. I never get through my song list, and this time I might actually do it. I'm determined. Let's go with Black Hole Sun, some Soundgarden, an oldie but goodie here on the Haunted Cabaret on Rhode Island Free Radio.
Face lies the snake in the sun in my disgrace. Boiling heat, the summer stench. Neath the black, the sky looks dead. Call my name through the cream, and I'll hear you scream again. Black hole sun, won't you come? Wash away the rain. Black hole sun, won't you come? Won't you come? Won't you come? Stuttering, cold and damp, steal the warm wind, tired friend. snakes in my shoes, walking sleep in my youth. I pray to keep heaven send hell away. No one seems like you anymore. Black hole sun, won't you come? Wash away the rain. Black hole sun, won't you come? Won't you come? Black hole sun, won't you come? Wash away the rain. Black hole sun, won't you come? Won't you come? Won't you come? Won't you come? Won't you hang my head, drown my fear, till you all just disappear. Black hole sun, won't you come? Wash away the rain. Black hole sun, won't you come? Won't you come? Black hole sun, won't you come? Wash away the rain. Black hole sun, won't you come? Won't you come? Won't you come? Won't you
All right, that was Soundgarden's Black Hole Sun here on the Haunted Cabaret. And I think we're already heading into the home stretch of the show. But before we go, we got to give credit where it's due. This has been a really good couple of weeks for the animal kingdom, humans versus animals.
Animals are winning.
They're winning.
Except for when the humans go nuts and decide to wipe out every single alligator in that pond.
Well, yeah, first they shot the gorilla just for dragging the kid around.
Yeah.
Right, which, I mean, if you want to size up the value of a rare gorilla with some damn kid that fell into the gorilla enclosure, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, the gorilla could have torn that kid limb from limb, and I just would have gave him a banana.
I mean, she had, 3 other kids? It was one of 4 children that were with this particular mother.
All I got to...
there's like 7 billion people. How many gorillas?
And we've talked about this, Nurse Misery and myself. There weren't signs that said alligators, but there were signs that said no swimming.
No, getting to the alligators.
Right, and that's just the alligator part of it. And I'm very sorry for the family. No one should ever witness that happening to them. But it is Mother Nature doing what Mother Nature does, and that's a human being became prey the minute it started flopping around in the water. Which, if
That's what toddlers do. They play in the water.
There's a reason why there were signs there saying no swimming. Yeah. And you decided to ignore those.
Now, I'm not too clear now. This was what was it, like a lagoon at Disney?
Yeah, a little resort over there. And
it was a lagoon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was signs saying no swimming.
Yeah.
Right.
But what were you supposed to be doing there? Just like hanging around on the land?
It was just...
Or was it a ride or something?
No,
it was a hotel resort. It was a resort, if I'm right. Tony, it was a resort and then
yeah, it's kind of like all of Florida has those little lagoons and
Yeah,
just like little wetlands and stuff like that.
I mean, kind of like at golf courses. Like, watch out for alligators.
Yeah, but the end result is like one gator did that, and they go in there and they start destroying half a dozen of them. One person, half a dozen gators. Is that really like? Is that necessary? I mean,
Well, no, it's not even. Actually, it's not even necessary to destroy the one gator that ate the kid.
I mean, he did what
alligators do.
And you failed as a species and as Mother Nature's top, which we're supposed to be. You failed, and that alligator did not.
But
Right, you went from being
humanity-
an alpha species to prey, and these things happen.
But other members of the alpha species posted a warning, so you should have been aware of the danger. And
Maybe they really didn't want this kid.
I don't know.
Maybe
I heard that.
Maybe they said to themselves, "You know what?
let little Johnny play.
That little what Nurse Misery? What was that little caption you just had on your
Oh, the phone.
on the phone there?
I find again. Hold on.
Yeah, something about let
it-
kids be kids, not little assholes, or something like that.
Yeah. It was phrased a little bit prettier than that, but that was the gist of it. There's a difference between letting children be children versus.
Was this kid insured?
Probably. I would go on to say,
Maybe he
yeah,
had that
but
Gerber life plan.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Gerber Life, they're one of the most notorious child killers on the face of this earth. I mean, think about it. Gerber, like why would you insure a baby if you're not going to snuff the thing like before
So you
it
can
reaches
have enough money to pay for the medical bills for the next one.
or something? Yeah, I mean,
Don't
yeah,
know.
why would you think about this, right? Why would you insure a baby? So that's what we want to know here on the Cabaret. We are, going to put on our investigative journalist hats.
I just want to
Was
go.
this kid insured? Was he insured by Gerber? Does Gerber have any connection with killer alligators?
Could have.
Were there any Gerber associates around at the time?
Right. Are there any stockholders in Disney who are both Disney stockholders and Gerber stockholders?
Must be.
Sure.
Yeah.
I just wanna
I sense a Badandi level conspiracy here.
I'm not
between
going. Well, you brought his name up.
between Disney,
And Gerber life.
Gerber, the nation's alligators. I mean, the alligators are not innocent here. I mean, how do you know the alligators haven't signed a contract with either Disney or?
They're building a wall with Donald Trump right now to keep the people out of that
out of
lagoon.
think about it from the alligators' point of view. They want the people out of this damn lagoon. This
Yeah.
alligator
Yeah.
was only defending his territory.
Exactly. It could have been a female alligator that just laid eggs. There
No,
could have been eggs.
that
near
alligator did what alligators do when they see stuff thrashing in the water.
Right.
It
I wanna
thought it
taste
was
that.
it thought it was a wounded animal and it ate it. They've showed videos where someone will jump into the water where there's a bunch of alligators and they'll take off. They're not
'Cause you're
likely to
scaring
come
them.
out and eat you. But if you're sitting there thrashing in the water like something was wrong with you, they're going to say, "Hey, this guy is prey now.
Yeah.
He's on my food chain." Now, my response to this act of, and I'm sorry again what happened to the family there, but the act of violence to Mother Nature's creatures there, we should do this as humans to other humans. I mean, hey, someone kills someone. You don't know who did it, but you're pretty sure it was someone in that family. So why not go wipe out that whole family right there?
Well,
It's only fair.
There was a shooting on, I don't know,
In the neighborhood.
Fifth Avenue, so all of Fifth Avenue dies.
Yeah, kill them all.
'Cause
We don't know who did it.
It's their fault.
I mean, that's the same concept we're coming through. We think as a human species that other animals' lives don't matter, or other creatures on this planet don't matter. A creature that's been around here since the dinosaur, doing what it did since the dinosaurs.
Which, by the way, Florida's having a huge alligator issue right now. So, unfortunately,
Overpopulation of
yeah, there
alligators.
is. So they suspect there's about 1 million alligators, and to put that in perspective, there's about 1 million people that live in Rhode Island, and it's just a combination of the natural habitat
Right.
and folks releasing their pets. They get these animals as pet. I mean, then that plays into every B movie possible, where you get this alligator, you decide you don't want it, so you flush it down the toilet, it comes back
well,
for you.
off at Disney.
And ironically, it started from this alligator overpopulation started from good intentions. Remember, because the alligator used to be a highly endangered animal.
Yeah.
Right, and you go on this too, where it comes down to we're overbuilding on their areas. We're approaching
That's true,
their
too. You're encroaching.
wildlife, their wet lives, and we're building these resorts around these lagoons, and
because it's so pretty.
Yeah, and this is a pretty area. When the alligator sees that, hey, that's water, I'm going into there. Just like if someone builds a pool, like we saw there.
Florida, every spot of water, assume there's a gator in it. That's just what you do.
Yeah, not just gators anymore either.
Well, there's crocodiles down there too. Crocs.
The saltwater crocs are more. You're less likely to come across them than you are an alligator. You will. If you're down towards like the areas where the Mississippi and the Gulf meet, you're more apt to see a crocodile in there.
Right, but right in the Florida Everglades, though, it's the alligators and the other animals.
Snakes.
The snakes, the anacondas, the pythons that, like Tony said,
again,
the pets,
people let them loose.
The pets that are turned loose. And the other one down there that's really cleaning up after itself is the Nile monitor.
Yeah, which
is again, pets released. Decide to breed a little bit.
And that thing is vicious in the wild. Like, it does not want human touch.
It doesn't have enemies, basically. A Nile monitor, it's a relative of the Komodo dragon. It's not quite as big. A Komodo dragon might be 10 feet long. A Nile monitor is 9.
And it'll still take your fingers off.
It will take your fingers. Yes, it will.
And people release like iguanas and stuff down there, and they run wild?
Iguanas are natural.
Iguanas are natural in the Everglades. There's species of them down there, but he's right. These guys, Nile monitors, they found black racers down there because people are releasing venomous snakes into the area. And the black racer, I mean, that's a warm tropical area, and it's like, hey,
it's going to produce like crazy.
Yeah, I mean, the next thing is piranhas in the water, right? Have they done that yet?
I wouldn't doubt it if they have.
I'm sure they have.
I mean,
human. I'll tell you, there's got to be people down in Florida with kind of the same mentality as those of us here that host the Haunted Cabaret. Let's create a natural tropical
horror atmosphere.
Let's put it this way: I have family down there.
Let's just create a living horror show.
Let's see what can eat humans quicker. Get rid of our problem here. Yeah, snakes, monitors, and then we'll have this big movie where the monitor will breed with the alligator, and we'll have giant monitor gator.
That's probably the only one that Sci-Fi Channel hasn't done yet.
Oh, damn it. I just gave them the idea. Yep. They're going to do it.
Alator.
There you go. There you
go. Why not?
But the fact that folks grab these animals and they think it's a good idea to have this exotic species as a pet, that just does not make sense to me. And just to let it loose like that.
Well, it's egotistical the same way. It's in the same category as pit bulls. I mean, look who has pit bulls. A bunch of maladjusted people who it's kind of like buying a sports car with like 600 horsepower.
Do you really need all that?
Yeah, do you really need all that? It's kind of like Mike Tyson, who isn't wound too tight, having tigers and lions for pets, things like that. It's an ego thing. It's like how tough I am.
Yeah, look, I caged a rattlesnake. I'm cool.
Yeah,
it's in my house.
Yes, I'm not only selling crack to kids, but I also have 3 pit bulls, 2 tigers, and
because my penis is only 2 inches long.
You have a penis? Huh? I'm out of here.
I think it might be time to file for a divorce.
Yeah.
I mean, half the time you see it as a macho extension of people, where it's like, well, I have to have the biggest, fastest.
Do you
sports
guys
car
remember
and the biggest, baddest dog?
Point taken.
Do you remember the wacko down in Florida that he got held up by the cops and everything and released all those poisonous snakes into the Florida
I remember that
area? How many of those do you think have been caught, and how many of those you think have bred?
Anywhere, yeah.
I don't think
consider
you really
that home.
Know.
You guys remember I used to work across from a park and ride, Exit 7, and that park and ride was a literal dumping ground for people that didn't want their pets anymore.
Right.
Oh.
Every other day, rabbits, dogs, cats, they would just go up there and let them out into the woods.
Speaking of poisonous snakes being introduced into an environment, was it in Rhode Island? I think it was right here in Rhode Island. Wasn't it the environmental management people had the great idea to release rattlesnakes onto an island?
There is a rattlesnake in Rhode Island, but it is native to here. I don't know about the other one. The timberback rattlesnake is endangered.
You know what I'm saying? But there was some kind of environmental conservation plan to reintroduce a certain rattlesnake
that's a great idea.
into Rhode Island.
It could have been. I'm not sure.
While we're at it, why don't we get a couple of those fish from the Nile that swim up your pee hole?
Yeah. Put them in the Patuxent River.
The YMCA.
Yeah.
Actually, the Born Again Christians and the Anti-Sex League is probably thinking about I'll tell you, don't say that too loud. That's gonna it'll be in the drinking water.
Oof.
Yeah, you'll draw a bath or take a shower, and there they are. I'll tell you.
That wasn't a bubble bath.
If something twisted hasn't happened, we will think of it here. All right, Tony, how are we doing for time?
We got about 9 minutes left.
9 minutes. Okay, let's see. How long? See, what I want to do is, there's a song I've been wanting to play since the dawn of the Haunted Cabaret, which is War Pigs by Black Sabbath. Now, that song...
It's about 8 minutes.
It's about 8 minutes. Okay.
We're professionals around here.
We can do this.
We can figure this stuff out.
All right. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to wrap it up on that venomous note, and we will see you next time on the Haunted Cabaret. Don't forget to check out both the Haunted Cabaret, Chuckles Crypt, and also I've written a blog recently, Tony, that you said has got some legs.
It was our top viewed blog for last month.
Yeah, so we are not only active on the air, we are also active in print. So yeah, check out our blog page, check out my blog, let me know what you thought of it. And that's about it, because I want to get this whole song in. I am determined. This is a little bit of Black Sabbath at their very best. War Pigs closing out the Haunted Cabaret on Rhode Island Free Radio. Good night.
Gathered in their masses, just like witches at black masses. Evil minds that plot destruction, sorcerer of death's construction. In the fields of bodies burning, as the war machine keeps turning, death and hatred to mankind, poisoning their brainwashed minds. Oh Lord, yeah. darkness world stops turning. Ashes where the body's burning. No more war pigs have the power. And as God has struck the hour, the day of judgment God is calling. On the knees the war pigs crawling, begging mercies for the sins. Satan laughing spreads his wings. Oh Lord, yeah.